I wanted to say a little bit about some of the movements that the great white egret does and how eloquent that is as a dance in its own right, and how that can inform and inspire a dancer. In 1977, when I was invited by the Alaska State Council on the Arts to come up and do a 2-month tour throughout Alaska, I closed my eyes and I saw the image of a white bird. Oh, I'm going to make a dance honoring the great white egret, which I had only seen once, because they return to the same trees every year at Audubon Canyon Ranch. And I thought, you know, I don't know the birds that well. Maybe the people who study the birds and are the naturalists and live at the ranch could watch me dance on the grass and tell me if I'm moving in the, you know, at all like the birds, or how to make it successful. So I went to the ranch and I moved on the grass in a sunny day, and they said, no, that's not it at all. And so then I recorded what they said by tape, and I studied what they said, and I tried my best to emulate and feel the way the bird moves. But also, because I'm a dancer, there is a whole level of what it is a dancer does that isn't an imitation or isn't a translation of exact movements. It's something other. And maybe that's where nature and people meet, is in that sort of mysterious middle where we're very inspired and informed by nature, and yet part of it is the mystery of what beauty is and how that affects our lives and lightens our hearts. The egrets come to the same trees every year. They grow special plumage at their nesting and courtship ceremony, and they display the feathers. So in the dance, you're going to see me lift some of the dress and move it as if that is part of this beauty of displaying the feathers. And then the bird also does something called the twig presentation, where each twig in an egret's nest is presented from one bird to the other as a gift. And then they receive the twigs and they weave them into the nest. It's absolutely exquisite. It's really a gift exchange. It's really about building a community. And it's ancient. How do they know how to do this? It's just extraordinary. They also bow, do these very deep bows. And there's a ritual preening that they do of their feathers. Preening, of course, would be the bird taking its beak and cleaning the feathers. But what happens is they do these movements, the bow and the preen, and then they shake a twig. And it's repeated over and over. And that is in my dance. So when you see that, hopefully you'll spot it. That's because of those movements directly from the bird. In the recent past, we've had an oil spill, and many birds lost their lives and lost the capacity to bring their young out. And so while I was working on this dance, that had happened, and I found myself deeply grief-stricken about that, and as a dancer wanted to physicalize how that would feel. So in the wounded section of the dance, you might consider that moment. But there's also a way in which the struggling is like the young wanting to flap and become alive and find out what it is to become a bird. And so there's a kind of crossover, the grief-stricken struggle with also the new life coming in. And maybe that's also the expression of evergreen that's always there, an energy that sustains life.